Cause I'm about that. Cause I'm about that.
Just finding where my passion is, and that, like, you know, it's now or never. You either do it now or it's never going to happen. There's no guarantee that there is ever going to be tomorrow.
Try to get them funds up, killing the mic just like I ran the jewels in. Y'all gonna get done.
You know, if you're going to go through life, you might as well do something you love that impacts other people in a positive way.
I'm about that cash flipping, I'm getting it.
This is a podcast all about business, entrepreneurship, making your passion your paycheck, people who just want to take control and kick life square in the ass.
Finish what I started, I'm about that.
On this week's episode of the Now or Never podcast, special guest Chad Cunningham. We go way back with this one. We have known each other since we were 6 years old. He himself has stepped out, made his passion his paycheck. Now or never, no excuses. And he is now an entrepreneur doing big things just like we are. This is fantastic. Now we got the man behind the camera in front of the camera, Chad Cunningham. All right.
I feel stupid.
Yeah, no, you're
I'm not
good.
gonna lie.
He's usually got the headset on, making sure our mics work. Now he's in front of the mic, and I freaking love it. So, Studio 402,
Yeah.
CC Media Content.
Yeah.
Chad Cunningham, the man.
Yeah.
So, a little backstory, how this all worked out is I've had probably 3 or 4 or 5 different people offer to do a video podcast series for me the last 2 years. A lot of them actually offered to do it for free, but I was just like, I don't know. I mean, it's something I wanted to do, but I bought the equipment, I bought the mics, and I tried doing some of this shit myself, and I realized I have no idea what I'm doing. And then Chad and I met last year when he was with a different outfit, and things just didn't pan out. And then he reached out to me this year, sat down, had a meeting, and the fact that I've known you since we were 6 helps. And the real reason why I chose you for this, other than you know me, I mean, you've known me since I was 4 foot tall and 5 foot wide, but that you are now doing the same exact thing that I do. You are an entrepreneur. You are a startup and the truest sense of the fashion.
And I'm scared to death.
Yeah, well, and hey, honestly, all of us are.
Yeah.
I mean, even I am 9 years into this running companies, and I'm always that. I don't think if you have a good, healthy sense of fear, you don't have that sense of urgency. And if you don't have a sense of urgency, you're not successful in business. So take me back. Like, you and I grew up, Norfolk, Nebraska.
Man.
We are, I mean, football fanatics, sports, everything. And then obviously 18, we all go different directions.
Where did it start, though? I think we can go all the way back to your house on Skyline? No. Summit.
Yeah.
That's right. Steifbergen lived across the street.
Across the street.
Yep. Steifbergen's
Merchant next door.
Merchant. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I think at one point I had a crush on her.
Yeah, I think at one point everybody did.
But yeah, I remember coming over to your house, and it was Lee and your little brother Craig was just
he was little.
He was still sprouting.
Yeah,
but no, I remember us always would make forts, or we'd always like make forts in your living room. Or was it
in my downstairs living room?
Downstairs, because you always had a bigger house than I did, and I always thought it was cool because I mean, we just run around like crazy, and we'd never wear shirts, right?
No, it was always shirtless, and my parents had this like half unfinished basement, so it was like, you gotta have this big basement. I'm like, yeah, it's like brick walls. We run into them, you know. My dad had this old weight set with the water filled weights, and we're like, let's see how much we can bench press, and we had to roll it off ourselves. So
you were always the strongest guy. And you always told us how strong you were.
I always said make sure everybody knew I was strong because I was fat. So I had to make sure like I got one thing on you.
I remember you always used to claim that you were big boned.
My mom told me that. She's like, you're just big boned and you're husky. You know, I spent the majority of my childhood at the husky section at JCPenney, and like that means I have big bones. And then I think I was like junior high. We saw, it was biology with Mrs. Stewart, and she goes, here's the bone structure of every human. I'm like, my mom's a liar. Totally. Good thing I grew a foot in the next 2 years.
And I think we always teased you about Big Bone Tim or something.
Big bones. He's got big bones. That's cool.
He's got big bones. Yeah.
I think we were playing football in your backyard with Brian Schumacher, and I sprained my wrist, and then Brian was like, he sprained his big wrist, you know, and that was, I'm like, shut up. And I finally got the joke like 5 years later when everybody's making fun of me. But you know, Chad was big, and you were in the theater and the drama and sports and in speech and all that in high school.
Jack of all trades.
And then when Chad, we were graduating, Chad's like, I'm going to New York. I'm like, you know what? This makes a lot of sense. And
so New York was a very valuable experience.
Yeah.
So I always tell everybody that I was raised in Nebraska, but I actually grew up in New York.
Yeah.
I mean, truth be told, I feel like I grew up after I left.
Oh, I agree. I think we all do.
Yeah. And I mean, whether or not you leave or not, I think obviously you're gonna where you grow or where you cultivate your ideas, the things you want to do, your career, stuff like that. That's where the growing up can happen. And I feel like New York did that for me because all of a sudden I was in this huge melting pot of the world. They have a Spanish Harlem. They've got, you've got Chinatown. I mean, you name it. You've got areas, regular Harlem. You've got the village, Greenwich Village, East Village, West Village. I mean, so every neighborhood in New York was a different, not that it was segregated because everybody just went everywhere, but it was just kind of cool to grow up in a place like that so we grew up in a city, 20,000 max, 22,000 max, right? Yeah. There were 22,000 people in my building, seriously, it's insane for me to, go from a place like that to a place from a place like Norfolk to a place like that. But, the thing that I think I gained the most out of was perspective. Yeah. And that's where I started to realize, okay, being a small fish, being a small fish in a big pond or being medium-sized fish in a, bigger, So how I feel now is I feel like I have back in Omaha, I feel like I have a little bit more of a grasp on. I don't necessarily have to compete. It's not so saturated. Yeah, there is there's a way here to be able to market myself and be a little bit bigger fish. I'm not looking to be famous, and being famous is not what I want. But I really just enjoy creating content. I've always been into theater and things like that. And I think New York gave me that sense of do what you do, but do it well. Yeah. You don't have to be the best at everything. No. You really, and it's impossible to do it. And New York kind of gave me that. It showed me that it's nearly impossible. And then I moved to LA and did the whole thing and wanted to be an actor. And
you got some acting. You got a cute little acting gigs.
I did. Yeah. I've got a couple of small things in. I was in Spider-Man 3. I got my SAG card doing a show called Cold Case. I played a bartender.
Nice.
Yeah. All that training.
Now you're bartending tonight.
Now I bartender. Yeah. I bartend part-time. M's Pub. Love M's Pub. Go M's Pub. But yeah, when I moved back here, it gave me a different sense. I really respect where I came from, and I respect what I did in New York and in LA, and those perspectives were great. And I'm glad I got that opportunity. It's a little bit like listening to Sean talk about his perspective of leaving small town and go. He made a good point. He said,
everybody from the Midwest should move to the coast.
Should give it a shot. Yeah. And you perspective is so important for me, and that is what's kind of shaped me and my business and what I'm doing now, and this new entrepreneurial idea that I'm taking on. It's scary, but I'll kick it back to you because. This podcast is all of your insights and the things that you've been doing for the last 9 years, 10 years, whatever, through failing forward, through trials and tribulations, talking about all your personal things. And then, you're partnering with your wife, which I think is brilliant, which I think is amazing that you both have the same kind of passions. Those perspectives for me are the things that I'm looking forward to do, throughout this whole thing. So I guess, if you have any advice for me or have any, leadership guidance for me,
it was, be you. Honestly, I've had some people come up and try to pitch these kind of ideas to me, and basically I was pitching a reality show of my family. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know.
I think it'd be fantastic.
I would be on Channel E or HBO at this point, but I'm never always looking at the deal. I'm looking at the person. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that I even had something on one of our Instagram accounts the other day about that. Like, understand you are an extension of your business is an extension of you. People try to separate them to a certain degree, but don't. Be you. I chose you because it's you, because your personality, the way you came across it. This may sound weird to some people, but if you come off super polished, like everything's monetized, and we've talked about that before, you're looking at, people can smell that you're looking at them like a paycheck and you didn't. And that's the big difference. And keep that. No matter how big you get, it's the same thing with me. When I go work in the stores every once in a while just to remember what I'm asking my staff to do, I like to do it too. So I get on the ground and keep doing the work. And I remember like, okay, I don't ever ask people, my staff, to do something for just a monetary gain. I want to make sure they're doing it for the right reasons. Right. And I think you do the same thing. We start out like, hey, let's just look at this, let's look at that. But you want a customer for a lifetime, not a paycheck. Because a customer for a lifetime will give you a hell of a lot of paychecks over a very long period of time. I'm only 38. Now, some of you might think that's old. I'm not old. I have a long career ahead of me, and that's 30 more years of paychecks versus people came and look at me like, we can make this much over the next 60 days. I know. I don't want to monetize anything. And I think we agree with that. And honestly, it's people who love what they do. You can tell when somebody does something for a check versus somebody who loves what they do. You love what you do. Yeah. And we had met previously through another company, and you, the passion you showed was 10 times what I saw from anyone else. And nothing against them. I'm not naming people. I'm not in that game. But you could tell your passion for it existed. So when you came out and said, hey, I'm going on my own, I'm like, praise the Lord.
I think sometimes people can see, like, with that situation, I think, they can look at if the monetary value isn't there, then my value won't be there. And that's the opposite for me. For me, it's the other way around. If they don't have a budget, I still want to say, listen, just try me out. Yeah. Let me come. I'll get the footage. Create them all, and then I'll show you why it's worth it.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Prove the worth. Prove the worth.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And I'm all about that. And I'm like you said though, I'm not about the paycheck, because yes, I got to eat. And yes, do I want to be a millionaire? Sure, because it offers freedom. But I'm not going to, I don't want a shortcut. I want to get there by, if there is such a thing in videography business, in the business of content creation as customer service, I want to have the best customer service.
Oh yeah, and that's just it. And customer service is everything. And we've done a podcast with Logan Irwin, and it is. And I loved his Southern California kind of like, and I love it because I spent some time out in San Diego, and I've done a lot of these things with Tom Hopkins, and I've done the Tony Robbins, the Zig Ziglars, and the Brian Tracy's, and understanding like how to form words and all that. And it's great for salesmanship, but if you truly care, if you can truly care, that is salesmanship. That is customer service. People read that. You can tell if you walked into a business and the person doesn't give a shit if you're there. Yep. And I've seen that a lot. I've seen that with a lot of people that come at me. We should do this because they see my last name. They think they're going to get a payday. But for me, if she gives a shit, and it's like Chad would come in and we met, and then he's like, "What's your daughter doing?" I'm like, "Oh, she's starting her own boutique. She's doing her own thing." "Oh, you got to jump on that, dude. Like she used the whole family, and and you come in my house and you met the kids and the whole family and the whole gig." And
I just think it's a fantastic dynamic. You have trickled you're almost, all these trials and tribulations you went through, you're basically you've showed your kids how to earn.
Yeah. Well, and it is how to earn your way. Earn your way. Here's how to do it. Here's how to put yourself in position. I do the same thing for my employees, and I always call my employees my kids. Yeah. Because most of the time they ask me for money. So my kids, and they ask for advice. They ask for these things, and I end up becoming a sounding board, and I love it. And it's the same. I give them the same leg up I try to give my kids, and I even had a couple comments like, "Hey, this isn't for you." I had this with a manager of mine who I went after. We decided it wasn't for him, and just we weren't seeing eye to eye and on the vision of what I needed. It wasn't hitting his skill set, and there was nothing wrong with it. He has a different skill set. I'm like, listen, where can we find a place for you with me to make this work? And his was on bodybuilding content specifically, or his passion. It's just one division of my company, so I got to have somebody more around. I'm like, listen, I need somebody to do my YouTube bodybuilding content. Let's move some things around. Let's go that avenue. He's like, cool. I mean, it wasn't like, I'm like, hey, let's find the best in what everybody is. I think Gary Vee said that the best, and I love his stuff. That I think we spend too much time focusing on trying to be, just like you said earlier, good at 50 things. Let's find 3 things and just kick ass at them. Right. But you're really good at it. I think our entire education system screwed in that skill set that, listen, you're going to use this someday. I'm sorry, Mr. Kazmaier. I have not used advanced algebra, I don't think. Yeah. Not in the format of the textbook. Yeah. God love you, man, I do. But that's his bag. And it just wasn't like, for me, and there's certain things that I think we need to focus on people's strengths,
right,
and they can have a passion at.
And I'm glad we have those.
Yes.
I'm glad we have those things. So the scientists, the computer programmers, and all this, they find that niche. So what's so interesting? You kind of touched on how Gary Vee. It's like, take the three things, sort of master those three things and do them well. Like I said earlier, jack of all trades. After I was done playing football in high school and I played a little bit in college, after I was done doing that, I decided to stop working out too, and slowly but surely my metabolism slowed down and, you put on some weight and you get a little sluggish and whatever. And I need to get back at it. So when I was going to the gym, what I was doing was I was doing cardio and I'd lift a little and all this stuff. But I thought that running on the treadmill for an hour was going to do it. Come to find out that different body types do different things. Yeah. And so I could apply if I apply part of that to my business. There are people that do certain things. Surround yourself with good people. Learn to delegate. In other words, if your skill set is this, master those things. You don't have to master all of them. It's sort of the same thing with fitness. Is just because your body type is this, it doesn't mean that you need to do a whole bunch of cardio. Maybe you got to do, CrossFit works better, or lifting works better, or different things.
That's exactly it. It's one thing putting your business to scale and you're trying to grow it. All right.
Right.
And as an entrepreneur, you're going to have to do a lot of shit you don't like. Like I failed accounting 3 times in college. And I do accounting every day. Thank God I married an accountant. Now slowly she's taking that over. But I had to learn to do it. And so when I first started website, I didn't know website design, but I didn't have a budget. So I had to do it. And guess what? As soon as I had enough money, I hired somebody else, Teddy. What's up, Teddy? Teddy Young. And who I went to college with, a stable gray. And I'm like, hey, Teddy, take my website. Cool. Now it looks like a polished gem versus the polished turd that I created. Right. But I mean, that's what I tell my daughter. She had to learn how to do website design. She had the budget. Yeah. Like you got to know. But the thing is, too, you have an appreciation for it when you do find that person smarter than you. And you have an appreciation for them that's differently. And I guess why I've come off as a leader, not a boss, because when people are creating, when you do this stuff, understand that I had all this equipment that we're using right now. I had no idea what I was doing. And so when Chad hooks it up and gets to playing around with it and puts this on video, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, that sounds good. Mm-hmm. Last year, it sounded like I was screaming at an iPhone from 30 feet away. And I have a total appreciation for it, but it's also because I tried it. I think it's one thing as an entrepreneur, you're going to have to try a lot of different things because you don't have the budget. But when you do find somebody, appreciate them. People are the only asset that matters. We've talked about that. Yeah. And it's different levels where they're employees or they're partners. It's interesting to understand that who you surround yourself with is who you're going to act like. And that's also hard as a boss because as you hire people in, and so we start getting bigger and bigger over the next 2 years. I guarantee as we do this, you're going to get bigger and bigger as well. And you're going to have to hire people in. And it's tough because it's your baby. Right. It's your baby, man. You filed the business. It's been your baby. And it's so hard to trust, but it's also necessary to get delegate because you'll kill yourself trying to do everything. That's
true. And the one thing I've learned, not just that, getting rest or, killing yourself, not being healthy. Because I do need to concentrate on my health because I've noticed that just little things are starting up and I gotta get an iron heaven. I gotta get an iron heaven.
Yes.
Because I'm going to go to real heaven if I don't. Yeah. But the thing about it is, like you said, surround yourself with the right, and I've learned in this business that, you can learn so much when technology changes. Oh, yeah. From the cameras to the mics to the computers to the editing software to all these things. Social media, when that's constantly changing, you have to evolve. You have to figure it out. And no matter how big you are, you still have to figure it out. And a lot of times you learn from the people you employ. Yeah. And if you're not learning from them, you might have employed the wrong people. Yeah. It's really important that not only are they inspired by you, but you have to almost be inspired by them. You have to find something in them that makes kind of an extension of yourself. It has to be, because if you don't, and you don't bring them in, and you don't see their worth. Yeah. And that was kind of what I was going through with my last business. I felt like I wasn't being utilized to my best ability. And I was just waiting for my opportunity. Do not, I'm telling you, if you take one thing from this podcast, this particular episode, don't wait for anything, for anybody to give you anything.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Listen, we've all been blessed with opportunity. Sometimes we don't see it. Sometimes we do. Sometimes it's in front of our face and we're scared. Sometimes it looks like it's an impossible mountain, but trust me, it will never just happen. If you're waiting for that rich uncle, listen, if I got one, no one's leaving $1 million, I'm cool. They're just, hey, you look smart. I'll give you $1 million. If you're waiting to win the Powerball, it's not going to happen. Do it for yourself. And honestly, when you do it yourself and you earn it yourself, it has such a different value and perspective.
Such a different value.
You know, it's like I've had before, like where I've complained about being so busy. And I had this video I aired like 6-7 weeks ago, I think, and I put it on my Facebook. And I met this homeless guy outside my building named Jesse, and he was just happy to make $300 a week digging through the trash cans out back, getting cans of metal. And I ended up giving him like $13 on my wallet, and my daughters hadn't stolen from me yet. And he's like, "We got a hug, brother," and we hugged. And I was like, "Cool." And I was like, and I come back to my office. I sat up in this office, and I sit there and I go, "How stupid, man! Like 9 years ago, I was begging for me to walk in the door." I bribed people to come in the door. I'm like, I'll give you free shit. Just come here. Yeah. And here I am 9 years later complaining because there's too many doors. That's just dumb. Like and it's just, I think sometimes we're wired to complain more than we should because we were just always in a bitch about stuff. Like winning the lottery and complaining about the taxes. Please shut up. Yeah. But, I think we're blessed with opportunity and sometimes you got to make it yourself. But you got to do it. And honestly, but it means so much to me that, when I come in there and I'm still cleaning the bathrooms because that store's my baby. That's where I put all my eggs.
You might not want, and you might be upset that one of your employees didn't do it. You might be all those things.
Sure.
But that upset is not going to clean the bathroom.
It's not going to get done.
It's not going to get done.
Complaining doesn't get shit done.
So it really doesn't. Now, going forward after that bathroom's clean and it's good, you need to have a talk with the people, that failed you or whatever it is, and giving up on people is also not. And so what you were talking about earlier off camera, off mic, you were talking a little bit about somebody you'd worked with and, you sat them down and how can this work? How can we make this work? You approached it from a standpoint like, okay, something's broken, needs to be fixed, rather than.
Well, see, a lot of people
there's no shot.
A lot of people get to they're all passionate about their businesses.
Totally.
And so we're all passionate. So sometimes passionate can come off as angry.
Right.
And it is because it is your baby. And I've had to tender that over my time. And I've looked at it like, this is my baby and I want the best of it. I want the best of everyone there. And sometimes you got to sit back like, okay, what's wrong? Like, is it a me thing? Is it a you thing? Is something we're doing wrong? Is there a better position? There's no reason to make enemies, especially in small business entrepreneurs. Like, listen, maybe 10 years down the road, maybe a year where that person can be in a position to help you or vice versa. Making enemies just because you are the boss and can fire somebody, that's just stupid. It's egotistical. So like, listen, like I've had people who've literally like, this isn't for me. I'm like, cool. What do you want to do? Let's find your passion. Like, let me help you.
There you go.
And I just had a employee who I thought left on bad terms, and I'd reached out, I'm like, hey, I hope nothing went wrong. They're like, no, it's fine. And people don't always tell me. And then she asked me, like, she was a great worker. She was great, nice girl. Worked part-time for me at my Bellevue shop. And she messaged me last week, like, hey, can I put you in a reference as a resume? I'm like, absolutely. She was always on time. She did everything we asked. She did great. People loved her. I just don't know why she left. Maybe she just lost a passion for it. And so I gave her the greatest reference on the phone yesterday. And why? Because listen, it wasn't pretty. That's cool. I appreciate the honesty, And I've had people who are like, "Hey, it just isn't going to work for me." And that's rare. I think
that's rare.
It is rare. People have this thing as being in boss that I'm going to boss people around. Those people don't stay in business very long, in my opinion. They will. I agree. I believe kindness goes a long ways. So I can name probably 2 employees out of the 300 or 400 that have worked for me the last 9 years that may not like me. And that's fine. But all the rest of them, I got nothing good things to say. Even people we've had to just part ways, messaging me on the phone, trying to make deals and helping them out. Like they want to be on the podcast now because they want to start their own company. We had Justin Jones, who worked for me, and he ran my Bellevue shop. Great kid. He worked for me at my stores and ran my Bellevue shop. And then we finally had a meeting, a sit down, and it was right when I opened Iron Heaven about a year and a half ago. And he's like, I just don't know if I could, in this position, I can get to where I want to be. I kind of want to be more in a position like yours. I want to do my own thing. I get this job doing roofing with this other company. I said, okay, cool, man. Like, best of luck to you. Like if I could counter offer, could let me. He's like, I just need to go this path. I'm like, cool.
Right.
It was probably 7 weeks ago, maybe longer. He rolled up to the warehouse to buy some product. Shane and I, my business, and he left that roofing company and he goes, check my truck. I go, it's a nice truck. He goes, yeah, it's the first truck for Diesel Designs. remodeling. I go, you started your own company.
Nice.
Dude, it's all hugs and high fives. I'm so stinking proud of that kid.
It's amazing.
Because he did it. And the thing is that I feel like I had a little piece in that.
Sure.
A little,
absolutely.
and I just freaking love it. So we message back and forth, and he's always he's watching all these videos, doing the thing. Nick Chandler, who also worked for me, they were the same time. Nick worked for me in my Norfolk store, another Norfolk kid.
Yeah.
Moved down here, worked for me here, went and did a bunch of other things. And now I think he's one of the founding partners of Olympus, another construction company, I believe. And we messaged back and forth a few weeks ago, and he's like, just thanking me for some of my guidance. I'm like, dude, no, I mean, I knew this from day one. Like, just working for me in a retail store, just in a part-time, like, you had big things, and I'm proud as hell to see that you're taking advantage of that. And trust me, nothing gives me more joy than when an employee says, I need to spread my wings further than you. I'm like, cool, what can I do to help?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the whole reason behind this podcast. When I told you we met was, they always say, like, be the person you needed at that age. And that's what I'm trying to do for everyone who wants to do their own thing, who wants to let their wings spread and fly, who wants to make their passion their paycheck, that doesn't have any excuses, that wants it now or never. Like, okay, here's a road path to how you get financing. Here's how you deal with this. Here's how you deal with that. Here's take the leap, take the jump, take the bound. And seeing these guys, Justin and Nick can't be, God, they're in their 20s. Freaking love it, man. I mean, I was 7 years late to the game trying to start my own thing because I just didn't have an option. I had no guidance on how to start my thing. So I had to go work my face off for 7 years to get the money to even do this. And just watching these guys do it, it's freaking awesome. There's nothing better. I mean, you're going to have employees you're going to bring in, they're going to see go do things, and it's freaking amazing. And
there's always something that, with this business, with what I do, create content and whatnot, that is, it's hard when you sit down and you try to sell it because you can't find a defined ROI.
Yeah.
And so you said it earlier, I kind of have to sell myself.
Yeah.
I have to believe if I'm passionate about it, then I think other people will be. Now, there's a creative aspect to it as well. And that's another reason why working with people, I can learn different things, different tactics, different, graphic ideas, different ways to use audio, way to shoot things. There's all kinds of ways to collaborate. And the things that I do well, I feel, is like tell a story.
Yeah.
And I try really, really hard to do that. But then, with content, sometimes I find myself doing too many graphic music openers and stuff like that. I'm just like, okay, I want to get down to the brass tacks of the story, and I really want to find it. And working on this thing called Train and Fame with Chet Fortune and Terrell Coolidge, who is King ISO. I actually, because of you, because of this podcast, was able, they reached out and we're doing this thing. And things are just slowly, but surround yourself with these people that are passionate about what they do. And it totally is true. I wish I knew then what I know now, Oh, yeah. It's that old saying. But you're totally right, because I wake up in the morning and yes, I'm tired. Yes, I didn't get enough sleep. Yeah, I still need coffee. I'm still a human being, but I'm actually excited. I'm proud of myself. Really.
Monday morning is no longer a 4-letter word,
right?
Because you're doing what you want. Exactly. And so it's funny. And it's
a great way to put it.
It doesn't have to be the same business. Like, you're doing business with me, you're doing business with Chet. But it's when you're around people that are passionate about what they do, you want to recommend their businesses. So, like, Chet can see your passion. So then you get Chet and you get with Chet. Like my buddy Timmy Evans, Giovanni's podcast talked about. This kid is jacked. I kid you not. He's jacked up about washing windows. He started his own window washing business. And I'm like, and he told me this like 4 or 5 years ago. I go, and I was not going to lie to you. I was a naysayer. I go, that's a stupid ass idea. Because Timmy's had a lot of ideas, like all these oil change things and all this and that. And he's like, no, I'm telling you, Tim. Well, what do I end up calling? Timmy Evans to go help me clean these windows over here. He's got so many contracts. And so the other day, as I have my new gym, it's got a lot of windows. Yeah. So he goes, hey, I know this guy. His name's Timmy Evans. You should hire him. Why do I go? He's the happiest window washer on the planet. Timmy's making bank too. He's making good money, doing what he wants to do on his own schedule. And I'm like, yeah, that's my boy. And I can't, we haven't called him yet, but all of a sudden I start recommending him. My boy, Brad Epstein at Courtyard Inc. Now, Brad opened up around the same time I did. He's been making all my t-shirts and designs. So all you guys who send me messages about screen printing, understand I got a relationship there. And you won't find a guy on the planet at Courtyard Inc., Brad Epstein, who is happier than all get out with his business, making t-shirts and branding everything that Iron Heaven Rexius does. He's got my business for life. And I've given him probably 500 accounts over the last 10 years because the dude's honest. He's solid. He loves me. He's so happy. My daughter went and worked for him for the last year. He asked me, do you think your daughter worked for me? I go, yeah. I think it'd be awesome for her to see the experience of another entrepreneur who is just happy to be there.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. So when people see your passion for what you do.
Are there better videographers out there? I'll tell you right now, there are. There's a lot better videographers out there in the world. But I'll tell you one thing, that when I bring my business to you, or you bring your business to me, you're gonna get the best of what I have to offer. And I feel like I'm really good, but I also know there's always somebody who's better. And so I'm always constantly looking to get better, but it's the people that I want to surround myself with. I want to work. I want a client. I want a client that wants me as much as I want them. You know,
absolutely. And you are a student of the game, because like we said, like, hey,
totally.
let's look at IGTV. Okay, cool. So then we're all like, how do we do IGTV? We should do it this way. Okay, I think you can do this with this branding and move this, that, and the other thing. So he's like, goes, okay, I read this and we're doing that. And the thing to me is like, okay, he's a student of the game, which means he's not set in his ways. The problem with ego, we talked about this earlier, is if you consider yourself an expert in anything, you quit learning because you think you're the top shit.
Right.
I don't consider myself an expert in anything because I always want to be a student. Right. There's got to be a better way.
Right.
And there always is. And so I'll take it from a 17-year-old employee to a 65-year-old. I don't care how old you are. If you got an idea, let's shoot, because I want to be bigger and better than yesterday. And
it might not work, and we all learn something or whatever.
Our first podcast we actually shot, we realized, okay, the mics weren't set up right. They weren't. And then the other one, like, it was the second shoot, like, okay, how to move the cameras around. So, but the content was so good, so you may see it was just somebody walking across the screen, but we were deleting it because it was so awesome.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, hey, we learned how to set the thing up, but there's no manual for this. There's no manual for entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I mean, we're eventually going to do an entrepreneurs workshop here in Omaha.
Yes.
Where we're going to set up a stage. I'm going to pick 5 or 6 other entrepreneurs. We're going to stage. It's going to be free. We're going to do this sometime in the next, 6 to 8 weeks, I think. We're actually, people reserve their seats for free, because we've always said we want to be what we needed at that point.
Right.
Because I read the chat earlier, the messages I get in, and I told them, like, these are powerful from kids. It just want some help. And I'm like, this is going to be a free question and answer with people from real estate and training.
That message ownership. You read to me earlier, not to interrupt, I'm sorry, but that was this person's, like, help me life story. They were is like I was like, that is, for you to be able to reach somebody like that. It goes beyond the money, it goes beyond the work, and then it turns into something. It turns into a whole new beast of its own.
Well, it's just it, and we're not monetizing it. You're not going to pay to be here. I'm not monetizing anything. Listen, if you like what I do, sure, go patron one of my businesses. But this isn't Rexius Nutrition. This isn't Iron Heaven. This is just Tim Rexius doing his thing.
Right.
And I have other entrepreneurs who would feel the same as I do, same as you do. And I'm gonna help you, because you know what? God damn it, I needed that.
And the things you do sell, though,
the
things you do sell at Rexius Nutrition and your memberships at Iron Heaven, they're still getting your level of service.
Sure. I'm a representation of everything I do. Yeah. I'm an extension of every business extension to me. And this one is,
you can't pay for that.
And Chad and I came with this idea, just like, let's just do an entrepreneur workshop, because these messages, like, listen, come just ask me. Like, I don't have all the answers.
Totally.
I'm going to give you my perspective, but get Chet's perspective. Get Dan's perspective, who's my real estate guy. I'll bring a lawyer in who does just like, hey, ask. I got a lawyer. I got a really good tax attorney, tax lawyer. His name's Craig Benson, aka my little brother, who is a tax law specialist and publicated one.
Absolutely.
So why not come ask some questions? I don't know who else I'm going to bring in. I'm going to talk to some other CEOs in the area. I think it'd be good, because that's the kind of stuff. This is my way, I think yours too, of paying it forward. Like, listen, like, the reason this has been like a Midwest thing is because I wanted to show that people from the Midwest have a lot to offer, and we have each other's back, and we all do. We need to help each other.
I agree.
Guy messaging me at 11 o'clock last night who's in town for a bodybuilding show, and he's like, hey, is there a gym around? I'm like, listen, what time you get there, I'll call the gym. I'll let him open the door for you. He's like, and he goes, hey, I want to talk to you about my brand. I go, we'll talk to my managers. They'll be cool. And he's like, man, I never met an owner who's this nice. I said, listen, small business needs to shake small business hands. We need to help each other out.
I agree.
I don't have Walmart's budget, okay? And I don't have PepsiCo's budget. None of us do. And there's the thought of being the size of Amazon or Google, that's like play money. It's like Monopoly. It's like when you're rich in Monopoly, it's not really real because you don't get to take it home. We all need to help each other out, and this is our ultimate way of doing that. And that's why I hope this podcast gets. And these messages are cool. Like, I put up a Keeping It Real with Rexius thing yesterday. on just,
Love it, by the
social
way.
media conduct and keeping politics off your personal, because you are an extension of your business.
It is true.
And people are like, you really get those messages? And that's why I read them to chat. I go, yeah, I do. I get a lot of them. Yeah. And I can't get back to all of them. So this is my way of trying to get back to everybody. And you guys give me these topics. This is what we talk about. Yeah. And that's the whole thing. And that's why I thought, Chad didn't know until this morning that he was my 1 o'clock guest. And we've been talking about this for weeks.
Mom.
Yeah. What's up, Miss Cunningham? And the reason why is because I wanted it to be real. I didn't want a whole lot of, Chad, because what? Huh? I'm wearing a t-shirt. I'm like,
backwards hat. So forgive me, whatever.
But this is real.
I am wearing the new.
I was glad I saw that new t-shirt.
Yeah, I was wearing the company.
But that's
colors.
That's why you're perfect to do this, because you're doing the same exact thing we're talking about.
I don't know if I'm I don't know if I'm perfect, because I feel like we mentioned earlier jack of all trades, and I feel like I am, but I am finally slowly but surely coming into my own on mastering this business. Now I don't want to say master, because I'm getting to the point where I actually have something, like you said, pick those 3 things. And I feel like I've got the customer service. I feel like I have the technical aspect from the videography standpoint. And I feel like I'm gathering enough of a following for social media that those 3 things customer service and the social media and the videography, I can put those together and make a decent business. But beyond that, be able to have something that people, hey, when they say my name, it's not just, oh, hey, I owe that guy money, or let's pay for his business. No, it's actually somebody that they respect. Yeah, respectability.
Oh, it is. And the thing you'll see, you'll see it happen shortly. And I had it yesterday, and it will be the moment. And it's kind of the moment where you feel like you're really arriving. Like, it'll happen a little bit, but it'll happen in a few years, and where people are asking for recommendations on social media. You see it all the time. And people tag me. And all of a sudden I realize in one person's feed, hey, where's a good place to get a pre-workout? Which is just a very basic question. You have Sam's Club, Walmart. Oh, good God. Yeah. And this, that, or the other thing. And all of a sudden there's like 75, 80 comments, and 60 of them are my name.
It's amazing.
It's just, go talk to this guy. This is Tim Rexius' shop, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, heart, whatever, Right. And I'm like, that's just, I don't even have to, I had one person say one,
but that's you. That's not even your business.
No,
that's
just me,
you.
because you are an extension of your business.
Right.
And the funny thing is, a couple years ago, somebody was doing a multi-level scheme here in town. There's a lot of them in the nutrition field. And it was funny that somebody goes, well, even Rexius doesn't know what's in his stuff, or something like that. And I'm like, what the hell? And so I'm about to type up this very well thought out response, because I'm pissed.
I can just see it.
And I usually wait, and I select and delete all quite often.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I refreshed the screen, because I was like, okay, I need to respond, because it's my reputation. I didn't have to. I had 30 comments back defending me. It's like my customers who love what I do defended it on myself. The person who wrote the post ended up giving me a private message like, I apologize for that. I hope you didn't. Do you mind popping in there and saying that we're friends? I go, oh, because you ain't liking the bad publicity. Yeah, that's cool. I appreciate the apology. And when I go, guys, we're good. It's not what she meant. Da-da-da-da-da. Body by whatever it is, I'm sure isn't completely horrible. And because I'm not one to do it on ego or bravado. I don't really care. It's, but it's funny when you get to that point, and all of a sudden, like, hey, I need somebody for this, and your name gets popped up by 20 people who love what you do. That's like the pinnacle for me, because that's your legacy. Yeah. Because I've talked about before in many of these podcasts, you can't take shit with you. Material belongings are just one thing. Right. Money's nice. I have 6 kids. I have 6 kids, so trust me, I'm never going to be rich. No matter how much money I make.
Someday, man. Someday.
Someday. And the thing is, for me, that I give way more shit about what my kids, my grandkids, my great-kids say about me. Right. And the name that hopefully is still in the doors than I do about that. And it's funny, in my industry right now, it's the retail apocalypse. It's what they call it right now. You got Hallmark's closing, you got Sears closing, and I look at it from a different perspective. They didn't adapt to the times. Yes, there's a lot of different business aspects I can get into, and people have asked my opinion on this a lot, and I think it's the market cleaning house. I really think it is. The market will decide whether or not your shit's good or not, and if you're a good person or not, is longevity. And since I've looked out for people's better interest and not a paycheck, my business has expanded. I'm expanding when everyone else is closing down. I don't have big budgets to buy my business Like one of my competitors is going out. They put $80,000 a month on radio. Well, they're dead. You can't buy in your business works once. Okay, looking for people's benefit and long term. That's what people are patroning. Yeah. Can people still buy it online? Sure. One, I'm cheaper than online anyways. But they're coming in for the conversation, the customer service, the handshake. Somebody stands behind the name,
right?
And so I'm growing. And so in my industry, be like, aren't you worried about retail spot? No, I'm not. You should be more online. No, I'm not.
If you go into your store and you got this wall of all these subs, right? The keto stuff and the protein and all this other stuff, right? I mean, you got like the popcorn, which I think is brilliant.
Oh yeah,
by the way,
popcorn's awesome.
OP people, I'm going.
Yeah, OPP.
What's our jingle? But when you go in to one of your stores, if somebody's looking around for just 30 seconds, somebody will, can I help you find something? And that you can't get online. And then it's like, yeah, okay, so my girlfriend just started this keto diet, whatever, you're telling the story. Yeah, we got this over here. Yeah, what was the thing? Oh, well, I was thinking about doing it, but I just don't know if I've got the discipline for this, that, the other thing, because I like this, I like that. Well, hey, listen, I'll tell you what. Why don't you try this, X, Y, and Z, and then mix that in with this, and then slowly but surely, whatever. They'll give you advice. They'll give you ways to get around certain things.
My employees don't even know what I make on anything. And honestly, people think I'm crazy. And most of my managers don't even really know the total cost of goods sold, the COGS, or any of that kind of stuff. I would go, you guys don't worry about the return on investment on anything. The ROI is not your concern. Your concern is to make sure that you give them absolute 100% greatest customer service the top, over this planet. Not cheesy, but real customer service. That is your only job. You have to walk 12 steps from the time they get in that store to go meet them past the first gondola. You must shake them shake their hand, look them in the eye. I tell them to even stand sideways and perpendicular. They go, why? I go, because parallel is considered to be competitive. And some of my people are in very good shape. Yeah. I want you to stand to your side. I want you to fold your hands. They go, why? Because I want you to come off as very welcoming. Or why? I go, because little subtleties like that in customer service mean the world to people. And if my grandma comes in this door, my grandma or my mother, who was just here a little bit ago, my mom stopped in. Hi, Mom. You will go open the damn door for them because this is a small town family business. This is what we do. We open the door for grandma and mom. Yeah. We help them back out of the store. That shit means more to me than the upsells and the margins. And I would literally, people come in and my manager.
Because they're going to come back.
My manager came in and he goes, hey, you might be mad at me. I just letting you know, a trainer in town, told them they had to get these 6 things. I decided that maybe it was too much for them. They're new, so I sold them half as much instead of, and I gave them some samples to try. Just don't be mad at me. I go, I am happier than shit. I go, you're creating a trust there, not a paycheck, and that's all I care about. Yeah. And I think that's, again, business gets lost. We all got to pay bills. I get run bills. I have a lot of bills. Of course. Good God, I have 60-some employees here in Omaha and in Norfolk. So I got bills to pay. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, if I do my job right, and I create customer loyalty, I'll be fine. Right. I think
you're selling yourself.
You are.
Because when people walk out that door of a Rexius Nutrition or the Iron Heaven or whatever, they take their experience, they take a piece of what you've offered, what you've given them with them, and that knowledge. You don't get that in all the different sub stores.
You don't get in the gyms, and
you don't get in the gyms
honestly,
either.
And I'll be straight up and down. The market allowed my businesses to succeed with their shortcomings and failures. I've never said I'm not going to reinvent the wheel, but I'm going to make it roll better. Mm-hmm. And that's just how I work. I mean, I wish I had the creativity of Steve Jobs. I don't. I said, but I do have some serious skill sets, and so I'm going to use that where I can. And like it was like I hate contracts. All right, no contracts in the gym. Okay. I hate yearly fees. Okay, no more yearly fees. It's really that simple. Like, I want airline prices. How about cheaper than internet prices? That's just, for me, it's like, hey, that's what I want too. I'm a customer in my shop. Right. I don't sell anything. Why do you sell it for $39.99 when everybody else sells it for $59? Because I wouldn't pay more than $39.99 for it. So I don't sell for shit than any more than I want to pay for it. Right. I'm not going to have some kid ask their mom to buy it for that price either. And, that's, I guess the good thing when we having 6 kids is I have a really great market demographic to test at my house. and so I protein popcorn. I brought it home. For sure. Is this stuff any good? They devoured this stuff. I was like, all right, let's stock it on the shelves.
It's true, folks. I saw it firsthand.
It really is.
I mean, they're ripping the bags out.
OPP popcorn is freaking awesome. I think Brittany only ate that for like 3 straight days. I mean, you have to eat other food too. But so big vision, big dream. Where do you want to be? Where do you want this to go?
Well,
because everybody's got ambition, everybody's got goals, and you need to have an idea.
I definitely want to stay in the Midwest. I really do. Whether the Midwest means Omaha or maybe it means Colorado, maybe is the Midwest. The whole thing. Maybe it's Kansas City. I don't know. But I see myself in the Midwest. I do love Omaha, and I do, obviously cost of living. I've got a house here. Eventually get married. Hi, Kelly. But, I think that I kind of see it the same way you do. I want to make sure that I'm not mastering anything. I'm constantly getting better at the things that I'm concentrating on. And customer service, there is a level of it here. I can't offer ROI. I can sell myself. I want to be able to offer good products, creative products, things that people can look back on, repost, reshare, and look back at that content, and they can be proud of it. They want to repost it. They want to comment on it. It wants to get views. Something that goes viral. Yeah, it'd be great, but it's mostly about what's the message. I want to be able to work with clients that want to hopefully they're as passionate about what they do as I am about what I do. And I want to get to know their businesses as much as I can. But more importantly, I want to understand them first. Oh, of course. Because that'll help me understand their business more. Exactly. And so I guess, it's hard to say in the whole content creation because things are changing so rapidly. I mean, computer software, microphones, Bluetooth, and wireless mics and lights and cameras and all these different things, lenses. I mean, things are they're so intense and they're a little overwhelming. They're a little, but that's the thing is I don't think I'll ever master it, but I do want to. Matthew McConaughey, and you kind of touched on it, gave this speech years ago in the Aussie, and it stuck with me. It's like have somebody to chase. Yeah. And the person I'm chasing, it's me in the future. Yeah. And you want to continue to be better than that person. I think Apple did a commercial, which I thought was a brilliant, and I eventually would like to, do some really fun, creative things like that. But they got big budgets. But Apple did this fantastic commercial about the Apple Watch, and it was it started with just a guy, getting out of bed to go on like a jog, and then another one of him, a clone of him, passed him, and then he's like, well, I got to pass that one and that one. It was basically, can you beat yourself? Yeah. Can you beat and continually get better? And then finally he's swimming, and it's just a bunch of hymns that he has to beat. Yeah. And I just thought that was brilliant because the message that it was trying to send was, it's not about how good you look or the weight you're going to shed, all that stuff. It's can you be better you than you were the day before, and that's basically the goal. Well, that's just it.
That's just it. I've got notes on my phone. I have my note list. I have a lot of notes, but there's one that's the main list I always do every day, and the very first one does, can you do what Steve Jobs did? And it's my first thing I see every day. And the reason why is because I've watched, you're talking the Ray Kroc story, Steve Jobs. I look at these guys, and I know it's a lofty goal, but he didn't just have a good company. He changed the way we live. Now, that doesn't mean what he did with devices. I like to do it. I don't particularly like his management style at all. He was kind of an ass. And I want to do it through kindness, but I look at, can I change people's lives? Right. Can I do something that impacts them? That's kind of why this podcast was always my thing, and I wanted to do something. Is can I give them something that makes them change their entire outlook? Right. It's with the formation of words. It doesn't matter like how we market ourselves. Whether that be this podcast, this video, maybe it's a 1-minute clip of one of these where we're saying something impactful that changes people's lives, to get shared 16 million times. Cool. I don't care what it was. And it's, I actually watched the Steve Jobs thing this morning. I do this almost every morning, kid you not, where he talks about, this is like 1990 Steve Jobs. He still had hair. And it literally got to the point where it goes, the milk conglomerate spent like 10 years trying to convince us that milk was healthy. And they didn't do a very good job because it's not. And it kept going down. They changed it to Got Milk. Didn't say anything, didn't say what it did, didn't say anything else. And boom, sales went through the frickin' roof. The formation of words and how you do it and something you put together can change the direction. Simply, it doesn't even have to be
just
dramatic.
Do it. Just do it. Yeah. Are the three most impactful words probably in advertising history.
Exactly.
And I don't know that for a fact. But all you need, just do it. It changed the way people look at whether it's sports or fitness or teamwork or business in general, or the work that you do, just do it. And I took that. I kind of took that same thing, like those 3 words, just do it. Because if you, it's never just going to happen. No. You have to make it happen. And I see that, folks, if you're listening to this, I want you to understand something about Tim and his family. And these guys are all in, but they're all in on their family. I mean, this army, and I mean it, this Rexius army it's a pretty special thing. You don't see it as, I mean, these guys, they sit down at the dinner table, not all the time, but they get together. They love each other. I mean, they'll be there for each other. Yeah. It is unbelievable to watch you guys. And then you also work together too. And you have this great dynamic, this great relationship. You can laugh. You guys, it's not always perfect. It can't be. No. But you guys learn so much, and you bounce these ideas off, and you guys are 100% in. And that trickles into your businesses.
Sure does. I mean, we are perfectly imperfect. And we are perfectly imperfect, and that's what the Rexius Army is about. It's just there are no excuses to be had. There are no more excuses. You can make your passion your paycheck. There's no one standing in your way but you. It's you. You make a choice. Jump to that choice. Deal with the consequences of your actions, and then go to the next choice, and keep going until you get to the end result, which is where you are on top, and that's it. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger used to say, don't be a competitor, be a champion. The word champion has a whole different connotation to it.
Whole different.
So when people do something good, I don't say good job. I say congratulations.
Absolutely.
Has a different connotation to it than saying good job. And I think that's what we're trying to do. And that's why we've decided to do this, because I think a lot of the people out there, East Coast, West Coast, nothing wrong with that. Or other these guys are out there doing these big motivational things. Is I'm doing it with my family as a whole. My wife and I, she doesn't have her thing and my thing. We do this as a family. We do it together. Now my oldest daughter started her own thing. My kids do their own thing. I encourage the hell out of it that we do it as a family, that, we are stronger together than we are apart. And I see so many of these things where it's just this guy or just this lady. And we get some people to say hashtag goals and all of our stuff because we're doing it together. And I'm telling you right now, it's a hell of a lot easier as a family. And that's why my employees, we call it the Rexius Nutrition family, because they're family. Totally. And that's, we do it together. And as a group, my wife and I made a commitment to each other, not only just as our marriage, but as in everything we do together. And then we will do everything together. And so she's been with me.
Stronger,
We're significantly stronger. And I want to see her succeed. I want to see everyone succeed. Absolutely. And trust me, I'm indestructible when I have my family behind me. Totally. Me alone, you can take me down, but you can't take us all down. I told my kids.
I don't know if very many people can take you down.
Well, I told my kids, like when we became a blended family.
Sure.
And they're all going to school together. 3 of them in the same middle school. And I told them one thing. I go, listen, understand how Rexius work. You take on one, you take on all of us. That's right. I said, so if your sisters or your brothers get messed up, you're the first person to stand up. So nobody messes with my kids because they know there's about 1 billion more of us right behind. So totally. That's how she works.
No, it's fantastic. And I commend you for what you're doing, and I appreciate you wanting to waste this 45 minutes to an hour on me and my BS. But truth be told, like I feel like I'm getting closer. I mean, I love your wife. She's freaking amazing. Fantastic. You're a lucky SOB.
I am damn straight.
And you've got great kids, and they seem to not only respect you but love you. Yeah. And I think there's a lot to be said about that.
There's a lot to be said,
and especially in this day and age. But I'm super happy to be a part of this thing, and I hope it continues. And I mean, I could keep going, but I think I've said.
Well, dude, honestly, it's an inspiration watching you do what you do, and it's so much fun to come back around full circle. That the 2 kids that got snowed in on Halloween in first grade for 4 days together are now doing this.
Oh my
God.
think
that's awesome.
Didn't I dress up as a woman?
Yeah, you did.
And or was I the old man? You were the woman.
You were the woman. I was the old man, and we got a lot of candy. And
don't tell your wife. Well, she knows now.
She knows. She knows. But to watch this all come full circle, and it's all out of Nebraska. Like, listen, if you're in the Midwest and you're listening to this, there is no reason why you can't do big ass things like Chad is doing, like I am doing. You are perfectly capable in this position, and we're here to help you. And if there's something you guys want to hear about, reach out to us and see how we can make your dreams come true. People often ask me how I have the energy to do everything, especially things like this podcast. And it's because at Rexius Nutrition, we carry things like A-Cuts, which is a pop replacement. It's a coffee replacement. It's healthier. It's amino acids, helps me burn fat, gives me the energy to get through the day, but also reduce my stress levels. And it tastes great. And honestly, I drink it by the gallon load because, well, I have 6 kids and I work 80 hours a week.